Today I'm going to teach you step by step how to make an over-the-top Christmas door swag wreath. Don't worry, it's beginner friendly. You'll find the full supplies list below in the description of this video, as well as the Etsy link for today's design. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and join us. We've got new tutorials uploading every week. Welcome to Stillwater's Wreath Designs. Come on in. We'll be building today's custom order design on a 28-inch pine swag base. And so first I need to prepare the deco mesh that we'll be using. We'll be using a 10-inch roll of this burlap colored deco mesh and then also a 10-inch roll of olive mossy green deco mesh. And I'm going to cut 8 pieces of each of the deco mesh colors at 24 inches in length. And guys, I don't measure. I just lay my roll in front of me, pull that deco mesh straight up in the air and cut. So let's get those pieces cut and then we'll start loading them into the pine swag base. Okay guys, that is much better. Go ahead and plug in your hot glue gun if you haven't done so already. We're going to be building today's design on the 28-inch pine swag base. When they come to you guys, they're just flat as a fritter, so we need to fluff it up a little bit. You've got them equally dispersed on either side and then pointing up. Of course, we'll leave the back flat. Where's everybody watching from today? If you're new to Stillwater's, I'm in northern Indiana. No snow on the ground where I'm at, but it is cold, 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 guys. Okay, I've got this base fluffed up. And the first thing we need to do is add those deco mesh cruffles in. I'm just going to alternate back and forth between the green and the beige here, the green and the burlap. I'm going to roll in those ends a couple of times to tuck away that raw edge. That helps reduce the fray, and then gather in the middle to create our cruffle. And what a cruffle really is a curl on either ends and then a ruffle in the middle. I like to start on the left-hand side, work my way down, and then back up the right-hand side. And what we're going to do is just anchor those cruffles in by finding 2 neighboring pine ties, placing that cruffle all the way down to the base between those ties, and then giving those ties a couple of tight twists. We'll alternate back and forth between those colors. I've started out with 14 pieces, so we've got 7 of that burlap and 7 of the green. We may need to cut a few more, just depends on how closely you're spacing them. So let's take a quick minute here and get all of our cruffles added in, and then we'll move on to the next step. Let's speed ahead. Okay, we've got all of our cruffles added in. I ended up needing 2 more pieces, so I've used a total of 16 pieces of that deco mesh, and look at what a great base we've got for our design. So today's swag is not going to have a sign. We're going to be using some wired ribbon, and that coordinates with the neutral theme that our customer is wanting. So I've got this 2.5-inch white velvet, this super cute burlap Merry Christmas, and I'm not sure if the camera's catching that, you guys, but it's got lots of glitter running through that, and then a 1.5-inch glittery green. And we'll be taking apart this giant wintry pick from Hobby Lobby to add into our base. So we'll be adding our florals in the top third of our swag, and then we'll be adding a bougie bow on the bottom right quadrant. So I'm going to set my swag off to the side while we cut apart this stem. You guys, this stem came from Hobby Lobby, and it was in their floral department, not in the Christmas section. And so I'm just going to take my large Work Pro cutters here and cut this guy down and trim off all of those stems individually. Now we're going to go ahead and hot glue these embellishments in, and I like to dry place my floral embellishments in first, and then I come back through with my hot glue gun and secure them all in. Let's take a few moments to get our florals added in. I'm going to be adding that pine cone and that white poinsettia towards the center of my swag, and then all the others will be equally dispersed on the left, right, top, and bottom. When I add my individual pieces in, I'm going to be sure to run some hot glue right down the stem and nestle it down into those pine ties. Make sure for those larger pieces that you're adding enough glue. Your floral stems are on a wire spine, so you can bend them and shape them as you wish. We're almost finished adding those florals into our swag, and then we can move ahead with making our bow. I'm going to set this off to the side so that we can work our way through our bow together. You can use as many different ribbon types as you would like. Just remember that your ribbon should be wired so that it will maintain the shape. I'm going to start out with an 18-inch tail. We'll pinch that ribbon in our hand. I'm going to give it a hard twist under my thumb. And we're going to make 2 loops here, guys. Those loops will be about 6 inches. Then we'll do the exact same thing with our Christmas tree 2.5-inch ribbon. So 2 6-inch loops and 2 tails. I'm going to add a long strip of this green. It's riding a long tail and 4 2-inch loops. I'm going to use a pipe cleaner to secure my bow right around the middle there. I'm going to give that pipe cleaner several tight twists to make sure our bow is nice and secure. We're going to add a long tail of this 1.5-inch gold on the back side of our bow. And we're not going to fluff our bow just yet. We're going to pull those tails down so that they're all going in the right direction, and then we'll fluff out our bow once we get it added into our wreath. We're going to add our bow right below our poinsettia at an angle. I'm just going to find some available pine ties and twist that right around our bow stack. Just a couple of tight twists is all you need. Then curl those pine ties back and out of the way. Then we can fluff out our bow. I like to start in the back and just make an X pattern with those 2.5-inch loops and then open them up. Then we'll do the same with our green. I've grabbed a small pine cone that I'm going to hot glue right in the center of our bow. So I've given it a couple of generous squirts of glue. We'll just nestle that guy right down in. While that pine cone is drying, let's go ahead and angle trim all of our ribbon tails. And then we're going to curl those tails. However, we're not going to curl or trim the velvet tails. We'll do something different with those. So what I'd like you to do with those velvet tails is trim away any excess bits of wire that are sticking out from the end of your ribbon, and then just fold that end under in as small of a crease as you can make. And I like to do that twice, just to really give that a nice clean finish. Just like that. So I'm going to run my finger over the velvet tails just to give them a little bit of a sleek curvature. And then we're going to curl the rest of our ribbon tails. This is just a leftover cardboard insert from a 10-inch roll of deco mesh, and it's my favorite tool for curling ribbon tails. And to curl your ribbon tails, guys, just take that ribbon, place it at the bottom of that cardboard insert, and curl it all the way towards the center of your bow, kind of like a curling iron, and then release. If your curl's too tight, just give it a little tug. That will relax it. If it's too loose, you can recurl it as many times as you need to. All right, now we can open up those loops for one last loop fluff. You won't be able to do much with those green because we've got that pine cone nestled in. The last thing we're going to do is trim off all of these petals from this gold glittery pick, and we're going to nestle those leaves all throughout our swag as an accent piece. So I'm just going to place a little bit of hot glue on the back side of the leaf, and then we'll nestle it in behind our other greenery bits. And this beauty is finished. Thanks for spending time with me today. What do you think?